Hello everyone. Today's poem is Yong Wind, 在迟 by 许穆夫人, a Yong Wind poem from the Book of Songs. This poem is one of the very few poems with the names of the poet 许穆夫人, Mrs. Xumu. Xu is the state name, and Mu is the honorable name after the state lord dad. So basically, Xu Mu actually refers to the lord of Xu, and the Xu Mu 夫人 Mrs. The wife of the lord Xu Mu. Two other poems, 竹竿 and 泉水, are believed to be the poet by 许穆夫人 as well, but that is only a assumption, a belief. But this poem is quite clear. It was the poem by 许穆夫人, and there's a long patriotic story behind. So I will talk about the story first, and then we'll go through the poem very quickly. So as far as we have the background, the poem is very simple and straightforward. And 许穆夫人 and this poem 在迟 is very, very famous. So as far as you see the term 许穆夫人 or 在迟, not only she was the first female poet in the history of the globe world history, but also 在迟 is the symbolic term for patriot. I would make the long story as short as possible, but still a quite long story. Mrs. Xu Mu was born in the family of the Lord of Wei State. When she grew up, she expressed her own will that she wanted to be married to Qi State, to use his marriage to enhance the political alliance between Wei State and Qi State. At the time, Qi State is a very powerful state, capable state. So he wants to help his homeland, home state, with her marriage to enhance the relationship, enhance alliance between the two states. Anyhow, the lord of Wei State married her to a small state down south, the Xu State. So finally, she was called as 许穆夫人 Mrs. Xu Mu, the wife of the Xu State. So one day, the Wei State was destroyed by its neighboring state from the north. And when Mrs. Xu Mu heard this bad news, she went north immediately with supplies and with helping hands, and finally she arrived at the city of Cao, where the fleeing Wei people stayed temporarily, sort of the refugee camp for the Wei people, and she tried her best to comfort all those Wei people, roughly several thousand Wei people there, and she tried her best and tried to find ways to recover the Wei state. Otherwise, those Wei people left it would become a nomad or ruled under other states, became a lower level people. So that will be a very sad ending for these peoples unless they could recover their states and they could still lead a life as usual. So this poem actually was written after Mrs. Xumu arrived to this refugee camp in the Cao city, and she has done a lot of the things to comfort the people and find her ways to recover the states. At the same time, the people, the officers, the king of Xu state expressed their very strong disagreement to Mrs. Xumu, as they do believe as a very small and weak state they can do nothing to help the Wei state or the people of the Wei state, and as the queen of the Xu state, Mrs. Xumu should stay within the state, rather go to the refugee camp or even go beyond. So this most probably could also endanger the safety of the Xu state as well. So the king of Xu state or the husband of Mrs. Xumu sent a team of high-ranking officers to the refugee camp, and they try to persuade Mrs. Xumu to go back to Xu state. So this poem basically was written under these circumstances when the officers of Xu state arrived the refugee camp. Now let's look at the poem. I will go through the sentence very quickly. It's a very long story. And most importantly, whenever you saw the term 宰持, the title of this poem, keep in mind two things. The first female poet in the world history. The second, the most famous patriot, one of the most famous patriot in the Chinese history. And this poem is all about the patriot. Okay, 载池载区归雁为侯. I'm driving my chariot, I'm riding my horse. I'm coming back home to express my condolence to the Lord of Wei State. 归雁为侯 express the condolence to the Wei State, the Lord of the Wei State. At the time, the Lord was killed to death already. 驱马悠悠，言至于曹. So I drive my horse long way and slowly. And finally, I came to the place, the refugee camp, the Cao city. So the final words, Cao is the city's name. The refugee camp, thousands Wei people temporarily lived in this city. 大夫跋涉，我心则忧. So at this time, I saw the officers from the Xu states come to the refugee camp. I became worried. The first paragraph gave us the background of this story. Mrs. Xumu went to the city of Cao, the refugee camp. She wanted to help the people of Wei state, the people of her home state. And also she wanted to express her condolence to the Lord of Wei state, her brother actually. At this point of time, she saw the officers from the Xu state where she married to, and she became worried. Now let's go to the second paragraph and see what worried Mrs. Xumu. 计我不佳，不能旋反. All those of you don't agree with me, but I could never turning back. 视而不葬， 我思不远. Compared to those of you not good people, my weariness can never lift me. 技不我家，不能旋即. All those of you, you never agreed with me, but I could never turning back across the Ji River. 旋即，旋 turning back, 即 cross the Ji River. 视而不障，我思不避. Compared to you, all those bad people, my weariness would never be shut down. Be means shut down. So basically the second paragraph compares the two group of people, Mrs. Xumu and the officers from the Xu state. It reflects the fundamental conflicts between Mrs. Xumu and the Xu state and her husband. So in the ancient China, the woman basically belongs to the family she married to, and she doesn't have too much power and rights by herself. She had to listen to her husband, or she had to obey she had to follow the interest of the family she married to. So from here we can see Mrs. Xumu is a very outstanding woman, very brave, and she was very capable as well. All those outstanding characters and personalities of Mrs. Xumu was reflected through her love to her home state, through all those things and her feelings to her home state. So this is the most appreciated value by the Chinese from the very beginning till today still. Now the third paragraph. 陟彼阿丘，言采其芒. I climb up that high hill. I went there to collect the herbal medicine. Mang is one kind of herbal medicine, but we don't know what type of it actually today. 女子善怀，亦各有其情. As a woman always has so many thoughts and feelings. So it's quite ordinary, quite naturally for a woman has all kinds of thoughts or the way of doing things. 各有其情, they have their ways doing things. 许人由之，众志且狂. The people from the Xu state, they blamed it. They looked so naive and mad. So the people of Xu state blamed it. What they are blaming for? They are blaming all the things Mrs. Xumu has done. Mrs. Xumu left her family, left the Xu state, and she went to the ruined refugee camp, try to help the Wei people, and even she want to restore and recover the Wei state. So that's the things the people of Xu blaming to. And Mrs. Xumu thought all those people of Xu state are so childish and they are mad. The love to the homeland, to her own family, to her brothers are very natural, and that's also the most valued things for Mrs. Xumu. So why those people from the Xu state blaming me? So the third paragraph basically has changed the scenario. So after the meeting with the officers from the Xu state, actually Mrs. Xumu looks so disturbed. So she went up a hill collecting some of the herbal medicines. So this also has some implication that he wants something to cure her weariness or her illness of the disturbed and troubled feelings. The third paragraph also changed the rhythm of the whole poet. The first two paragraphs basically is very intense with a lot of the conflicts. The feelings are very hot and troubled. And from the third paragraph, the rhythm became slow and slowed down and became calmful. And this also reflected in the content that Mrs. Xumu want to calm down herself as well. The fourth paragraph. 我行其也，蓬蓬其脉。I was traveling in the wild. The wheat field looks so prosperous. Peng Peng describes the weeds was growing very, very prosperous. 空余大邦，谁因谁急? So I was about to go for some of the powerful state. Who can I rely on and who can come here to resolve my weariness or resolve the troubled land of the Wei state? So from the two pair of sentences of the fourth paragraph, we know the scenario changed again. So Mrs. Xumu is on a trip to some of the powerful state, and she saw the beautiful, prosperous wheat field, and she feels much better, but she's still worried. Which powerful states could I rely on, or which powerful state would come here because of my pleading? 大夫君子，无我有由. The officers, the kings, don't blame me anymore. So this pair of sentences basically goes to the Xu state, the officers, the kings, her husband of Xu state. Don't blame me anymore. I'm on my trip already. I'm on my way already. 白尔所思，不如我所知. All of you, you have so many thoughts. You have hundreds of thoughts, but it can never compare to I'm going to it. I'm just do it. The fourth paragraph changed the scenario again, where the Mrs. Xumu was on her trip to one of the powerful states for help, and she saw the prosperous wheat field, and she sent her message back to her family, to her husband, to Xu state. That's enough. No matter what you told me, no matter what your plan it is, no matter how many plans you have, hundreds of plans you have, it could never compared to my dedication. It could never compared to my action. I'm going now. So she was on her trip to ask help from a powerful state. So from the history book, we know Mrs. Xumu went to Qi state, and then Qi state sent troops to help Mrs. Xumu rebuild the Wei state. And with the efforts, with the dedication of Mrs. Xumu, the Wei state was rebuilt. So that's the most wonderful things, and that's the best values we appreciated for thousands years. Mrs. Xumu, the first female poet in the world history, with her dedication, with her courage, with her love, she rebuilt her homeland, her fatherland again, with very strong blaming and against from her husband, from Xu state. That's a miracle, even we look at it from today. Okay, that's for today. Bye bye.